Guys, gas prices are about to get higher, and the effect of inflation will continue just as we hit the holidays. And this is all happening in large part because OPEC is cutting oil production. Now, things are pretty bad already when it comes to inflation. According to Moody, inflation is already causing the average American household to spend $445 more per month buying the same items they did approximately a year ago. So that honeymoon era of slow climbing inflation is over, and high prices will likely stick around for a while. Now, 2022 has not been a good year for US consumers. We thought it would get better towards the end of the year. However, things may not improve considering the OPEC oil production cuts beginning this November. The latest development by Saudi Arabia and OPEC will alter things drastically for many US consumers during the holiday season. The OPEC, of which Saudi Arabia is a major power broker, has signaled that the organization would cut the production of energy slightly, a move that would put many US consumers under even greater economic pressure. When we combine the effect of oil cuts with the current inflation rate, which at the moment is at 8.2%, we could potentially be going into double-digit inflation. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that things are way more expensive now than even a year ago. And this 8.2% number put out by the Department of Labor is generously conservative. And this is why inflation is considered one of the major concerns for consumers this year. In March, a poll by Pew Research found that many Americans view inflation as the top problem facing the country. With gas prices hitting a peak above $5 this year, that puts upward pressure on almost every product we buy. Fortunately, we've seen gas come down to almost $3.83 as the national average since May. This has given us some short-term relief, but with these new OPEC cuts, there's no promise that gas prices will stay this low. Just so you have an idea of how large these planned oil production cuts are, this will be the largest cut made by OPEC in over 2 years. It's enough to disrupt the global economy. Now, OPEC is defending this decision, right, by stating that it ensured price stabilization within the sector affected by the Russian invasion of Ukraine. But could this production cut be supported by Russia, which had been badly hit by sanctions? In the US, senior officials have not been happy with this move, as they warned that the oil cut was coming at a really bad time. And with Saudi Arabia being one of the US's closest allies in the Middle East, we would probably expect a more favorable decision, but it's not all up to Saudi. Historically, Saudi Arabia and the US have had their way with determining the trajectory of energy prices. I'm sure you've all heard about the petrodollar. The petrodollar is a system of trade agreements where countries use US dollars to buy oil from oil supplying countries. The US struck an agreement with Saudi Arabia. Since Saudi Arabia was the largest oil producer, they were able to influence other oil producing countries to accept US dollars. But since the sanctions on Russia has been trying to force countries to buy their oil using Russian rubles. Russia is also one of the largest suppliers of oil, so they have a high degree of influence on OPEC as well. Why is Saudi Arabia doing this to the world? The US president visited Saudi Arabia in a diplomatic bid to encourage the nation to boost oil production to counter the effects of oil prices resulting from the Russian war in Ukraine. But this was not successful. Don't forget the economy is already fragile, and according to who you listen to, some say we are already in a recession. And with the recent geopolitical factors going on, this oil cut may push gas prices up by 30 cents a gallon, particularly as we approach the holiday period when demand is expected to be at a high. Now, while analysts have different views of what to expect, some agencies actually express optimism. There is the theory that the oil cuts by OPEC won't do much damage to the economy because the cut has been factored into predictions already. So how is the White House responding? The report of the production cut didn't go well with the White House. They were pretty disappointed in the Saudi Arabia-sponsored move, but the government has quickly moved on with plans to help ease the supply shock. The government has continued to release millions of barrels of oil from the Strategic National Reserve. However, we know this isn't a long-term solution. Fortunately, the government is already looking to explore other options to help boost local oil production. We may even see the US become a net energy exporter again. While that's a comforting thought, It takes a long time to ramp up production in new drilling sites. So unless there is a change in production policy by OPEC soon, there will be an immediate effect on the global economy. What do you guys think the government will do now that Saudi hasn't proven to be a reliable energy partner? Do you think the current administration will finally give the necessary infrastructure permits to allow companies to drill sufficient oil to meet our country's needs? I never have an answer for this because the effort to make the US reliant on foreign oil seems driven more by ideology. Share your thoughts down in the comments section below, like and subscribe, and watch this video about our economy.